Thought Christian Laettner was soft.
Overrated.
A bitch.
An overrated pussy. Until I actually got on the floor with him and realized that he had game.
Christian Donald Laettner, born August 17th, 1969. You hear a name like Christian Laettner, and not only does it not bring to mind NBA significance, but you wouldn't think this guy was one of the best college players ever. But look it up, and he was. NCAA All-American, two-time NCAA champion, male athlete of the year, all-conference college player of the year, and hit one of the most iconic shots of all time to defeat Kentucky in the '92 East Regional Final. In that game, he shot 100% from everywhere on the floor en route to a 31-point game in 43 minutes. When you talk about what the college athlete was aimed to look like, Christian Laettner was the representation. That stellar college Hall of Fame career led to him being selected 3rd overall in 1992 behind Shaq and Alonzo Mourning. For Laettner, the success didn't stop there. He made the all-rookie team, averaging 18 points and 8 rebounds at the power forward and center position in the all-competitive 90s. Although his averages fell for the next 3 years, he made the All-Star team in his first full season with the Atlanta Hawks in 1997, averaging virtually the same numbers he did as a rookie. His first handful of years definitely did not disappoint, but because of the name he created for himself and the bar he set in college, along with what he wasn't able to do in the last 8 years of his 13 seasons, is why many feel Duke legend and Olympic gold medalist selected to the Dream Team over Isaiah Thomas to have been a disappointment. So what happened? How'd one of the best college players ever not have the same success in the NBA? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it. Christian Laettner was a 6'11" power forward center from Angola, New York that earned a starting spot on his varsity high school basketball team as a 6'7" freshman and received his first college basketball offer. By his senior year, he was 6'11", averaging 27 points and 17 rebounds a game, and had almost every top school in the country interested in his services. He chose the Duke Blue Devils because, as he says, he liked everything about them. The young coach, team, their colors, the mascot, and decided that's where he wanted to be. The decision would change college basketball history as he went on to becoming one of the best Duke players ever, winning the program its first championship in '91 and the follow-up in '92 to close out his amazing college career. He even earned a spot on the '92 Dream Team that's considered the best team ever assembled. Laettner's name rang heavy around draft time, as although you knew Shaq and Mourning were the more talented players, both the Orlando Magic and of course the Charlotte Hornets contemplated selecting Laettner at number 1 or number 2. The Timberwolves would land the Player of the Year by every major publication at number 3. Stunt number 1, the unreachable bar. There's great players every year leaving college basketball and entering the NBA as top 5 picks, and most times they go on to have great NBA careers. But Christian Laettner never really had a chance to become one of them. In fact, he may be the poster child for how much the college and NBA game differs, in that you can look like Michael Jordan in college basketball, but completely wash out or become a role player in the NBA. Yet, a lot of stock is still put on college players and their potential over the obvious signs that said players' skills just aren't made for the style and business moves of professional sports that can determine just how good an individual you really are. With that said, back in 1992, Laettner was as exciting a prospect as they came. As if anyone was going to have translational success, it was him. Height-wise, yes, Christian Laettner was perfect for the 90s power forward and center, but that's where it stopped as far as dominant translational tools, natural ones. In college, this can be all masked when you have the opportunity to select a program perfect for your skill set with promises of a chance to play immediately and a lot, depending on the high school career you had, as the entire program is built around you or at least with you in mind. the exact opposite of the NBA, where you don't choose the situation that'll best suit you and you can choose the teammates you want to play with along with the city and lifestyle. With all the accomplishments mentioned that Laettner achieved in college, only grew the expectations too high for the slow, white big man that didn't roll the fastest off screens, didn't catch lob passes, and wasn't exactly an intimidating post presence on defense. In the 90s, a player like that was never going to win back-to-back championships as the leader or hit one dribble turnaround fadeaway game winners in the playoffs. His first 5 seasons were not bad at all, but no one remembers those more than the journeyman he became and lack of individual accomplishments he achieved in the NBA. With a bar that high leaving college, attached to the wrong guy for the NBA style, drafted 3rd overall, the expectations were unreachable. Stunt number 2, the wrong era. 90s basketball was truly a golden era and for many the foundation of their love for the game. During that era, the game was a lot tougher as far as what was allowed to happen physically on the floor, especially for anyone that tried to score a basket within the paint. This means for bigs you had to be mean or at least hold your own physically against guys that wanted to post to you at every position. Or you had to be confident in your finesse skills and on the right team for that to show effectively. It was still the era of the low post traditional big man, back to the basket, hook shot, drop step, bully ball, in a time the post player was the main option by default for most teams. Looking at Christian Laettner, you could see the obvious issues he'd face with these elements fighting against his slender frame, all-American appearance, and under-the-basket play. Maybe if he came up in an era like today, where bigs are expected to stretch the floor on offense with their shooting, which was right up Laettner's alley, at least in the mid-range. That's not to say he had a bad start. Like mentioned, he was nearly as expected his first 5 seasons, and then it all fell apart. He just couldn't last in a league that physical and not geared toward his skill sets like shooting and finesse. Or just maybe he was on the wrong team for that era, because I think if you put him with a team like the Stockton-Malone Utah Jazz as the 3rd option, he may have had more success. See, in college, he'd still be a great Duke player today, because the traditional NCAA system and ability for players to choose the best situation for them hasn't changed. But in the NBA, eras do matter, and Christian Laettner may have been in the wrong one. Stunt number 3, are solid careers not worth it anymore? A lot of times we can neglect how hard it must be to even have a solid career in the NBA, much less even make it to becoming a pro and playing 13 seasons like Laettner. For his career, he averaged 13 points and 7 rebounds and was an all-star. Is that not enough to be called successful? Does that make Christian Laettner a bust? No, he was not a bust, but to my original growth stunt, his expectations as one of the best to ever do it in college and top 3 overall NBA draft selection has expectations that was just too much for the player. It's why a second rounder like a Draymond Green makes all-star after all-star, is considered a first ballot Hall of Famer, and averages bust numbers. So it makes me think, do we respect a solid career anymore? The Kenyon Martins, Rasheed Wallace, Richard Hamilton, Glenn Rice, or Christian Laettners of the world. In Draymond's case, I guess sometimes we do, but not for Christian. He was supposed to change an NBA franchise and dominate like he did in college as the great white hope for the NBA. Instead, he played for 6 teams in 13 years in the league, with his best career numbers being in his rookie year. He was solid, but for him, that wasn't good enough. All in all, in total, Christian Laettner had a productive run in basketball. No, he wasn't the same player he was in college. At the same time, he wasn't a bust in the league. Just the two never found a formula that could mix to help him meet expectations. Still an all-time college great and was solid in the league. But for these reasons, his growth was stunted. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth, and I'm out.
And I thought Grant Hill was a bitch.